What if I did the whole video with sunglasses on? Hello everybody, and welcome back to Internal Tech. Today we have something very, very fun in store. We will be making a hair pick, we'll be designing it, and we're gonna 3D print it later. We're gonna see how this goes. I have some thoughts, for sure. I have some thoughts, but we're gonna start with the design, and then we're gonna see how we wanna print this thing exactly. Happy Black History Month, everybody. It's literally the end of February right now, and I wanted to make more content on this, but this video specifically is attributed to Black History Month. I love seeing Black people in technology, by the way. That's a huge part of Internal Tech that I left out earlier. And we're gonna do some super dope techie stuff. We're just gonna make something cool. Before we dive right into the video, I wanna briefly explain what Internal Tech is and kind of what the purpose is, right? I'm building a platform called Internal, and that's the centerpiece. Internal comprises of different sections, which we will get more into later, but everything on this channel that you're seeing is the tech section. This is where we do things like playing with technology, you know, designing, 3D printing, anything that touches a circuit, that touches code, things that are building related. We're gonna do all of that here at Internal Tech. We're not gonna just build things that are normal per se. We're gonna pursue some things that are a bit more experimental, 2,000 million, 100 trillion% custom. We're really aiming to just have a lot of fun, you know, see some new things that we can build as opposed to the regular oversaturated things that we're used to seeing, right? So that's the goal here at Internal Tech. Definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on your post notes for my shorts and other video posts. We're really gonna get into it and have a lot of fun. Without further ado, hold on, let's look up ado. Without further ado, that's how you spell that? Without any fuss or delay, immediately. Isn't it like Purdue, but like ado? Right. Okay, anyway, that's not the point of the video. I know we have to design this thing and 3D print it, so it has to be a uniform body by the end of our design. But I'm not sure whether I want to use A, Autodesk Inventor, or B, Blender. Blender is more artsy and Autodesk is more technical. I'm fine with either, but this design needs to be fluid enough. It needs to be simplified enough, and I need to get the tooth spacing correct in this. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a program by its... I think that song is racist. I'm gonna stop saying that. We're gonna try to keep this pretty concise. We're designing in millimeters, as usual. Standard millimeter RPT create. Okay, now we're gonna start on a simple plane. Let's do X, Y plane. Now I know one of y'all has this blue hair pick. There's also the black one with the fist on it, which is cool. We're gonna take some rough dimensions of this really quick. Let's make it handy. Let's make it shorter than this one is. Let's make it like 75 by 75. Yeah, let's actually make that a square. 75 by 75. This part is not too thick. It's about 5.7 millimeters. 5.7 millimeters. Cool. So now we have the square looking thing, 5.7 millimeters. Let's cut a line down the middle and so this part we're looking at here is kind of the handle part. We have a little handle to grab onto, but there's also like the wider base that we're gonna have the teeth extrude from that point. We're going to export this as a CAD format to the desktop, and we're gonna save it as an STL file. We're gonna make sure the resolution is set to high or in millimeters, good to go. All right, save. Now it's time to open up Blender. So yeah, we're just gonna do a general kind of thing here. We're gonna delete this cube. Let's go to import our STL file. Straight through the desktop, hair pick base STL. Length is in millimeters. Okay, now we have our thing. And just to check that all our faces are okay, we do have some triangulation. That's kind of its way of making our model higher poly, but again, we have a super simple shape. We don't need that at all. Let's kind of flatten these faces out a bit. Now we're pretty much gonna eyeball this. Let's add in a cube, scale that up, and then we're gonna go this way. Now let's turn our edge snapping on, bring this up. Actually, I lied. Let's do our vertex. Move this face on the y-axis, snap it there. Size X, shrink it down. Let's move it this way. Okay. Now we have two separate pieces, right? We have the handle piece, and now we have the piece we're gonna make the little spokes out of. Without stretching them too much, they look about 4.4 millimeters apart, about 3.2 millimeters. So we got our handle piece and we have our teeth piece. Move that down just a bit. We're kind of just eyeballing this at the moment. That looks pretty good. Now we're gonna make our pattern thing. So let's make a cube. And right now we're gonna make it like this. Bring it up a bit. Now, if our spacing is 4.4 millimeters apart, we are gonna make this 4.4 millimeters that way, 4.4 that way. Cool. And actually, let's bring it right there. Yup. Oh wait, if the teeth are 3.2, let's actually make this 3.2, not 32, 3.2 by 3.2. So now we're gonna add an array modifier, and we don't want it in that direction, we want it in the Y direction. The factor of 0 puts it right on top of itself. A factor of 1 puts it right next to itself. Basically, we have 3.2, which is the width of the tooth, plus 4.4, which is our spacing, 3.2. It's 2.375, which is what we're gonna want to make this 2.375. Boop. Now that I'm looking at it, let's actually mute that shape. Let's go back to here, and we're actually gonna make this on the x-axis 0, so it lines up right in the middle. There we go. Let's select that line. So now, each one of these is now should be 3.2 millimeters, and the spacing should be 4.4. We only have 2 iterations. Now check this out. Now we have a basic pick. If we look at the edge here, we could either keep it less or we can go more and kind of overshoot it. So now we're actually going to apply this. Object set origin to geometry. Now it's in the middle. So now on the y-axis, we can shift this over right to the middle. And we're going to do the same thing that we just did. This time we're going to select the points to go right to there. Snap and snap. If we look at a hair pick, right, we don't just have these straight perpendicular pegs going straight down, right? So what we're going to do next is implement some sort of taper, pretty much. In order to do that kind of taper, let's select this, go into edit mode. So now we're going to select all these lines at the bottom. Let's watch the cool stuff. Move it along the x-axis, and that looks pretty good to me. We're going to select all of these again on the other side. Okay, these are on different sides, so I can't quite do the same thing, but we're going to do a bevel now. Yes, correct. We're going to do a bevel, and I can either, this bevel is looking kind of weird. I could curve the bevel or I could keep it straight. Right now, we're going to keep it pretty straight. So now we have something that looks like a pick. Really quick, let's go into edit mode. Translate over we're going to mirror over the Y. I want to make this a pick that's pretty easy to hold. It doesn't need a super crazy handle, so we're going to do that. We're actually going to make it a bit wider right here. Let's do a bevel like that, a bevel like that, bevel like that, and we're going to turn off mirroring now. Let's undo all of that. I don't like how it looks. Now we're going to give these a slight bevel, and now they look like that. As you can see, the spot where they meet looks weird and crazy. So we're gonna just kind of stick that up in there. So now if we look at it, it meets just fine. Oh, one more thing. Just ever so slightly. Cool. This isn't perfect, but it should work for what we're trying to do today. And export. This is where we started, and this is what we're looking like right now. So let's open ChuChuBox. This is our resin slicer. And ooh, look at that. That's the last thing I resin printed. Get out of here. So now we got ChuChuBox open. This is the 3D slicer for my resin 3D printer. So this will let us chop it up into layers and configure all the settings and stuff like that. Okay, we are back from our little break. Every time I want to select the support materials section and generate the supports, it will kind of hang and then it will crash on me. This time I'm hoping it doesn't do that same thing. We're gonna see what happens here. Let's take a look here. Apparently I have enough printer height to hit all the way up without running out of space. It's about 2,300 layers. If we were to print this on the FDM printer, the one with the little red thing sitting on it, 5 hours would not cut it at all for something like this. But yeah, let's drag it from the bottom. It would start here and then kind of ease its way up. Once it gets to this point here where we have these dots, that's the spot we want to be at. If all of this can develop a nice foundation, all it has is some points to extrude, and that's about it. Since the layers will be going perpendicular to the direction of the tooth, that means they'll be weaker technically, but we're not making this super functional at the moment. We just want to print out the model. Y'all, we're rooting for it not to shut down, okay? Because there's no other way to do this. Let's click it. Faith pays off in the end. Let's generate a bunch of light supports. We are gonna do a raft. We're not gonna lift it up. We're gonna take the skate off. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Slice, slicing, slicing, slicing. That like button. Our exposure time for each layer is 1.7 seconds. Our bottom layer time is 15 seconds, which I'm cool with. That seems to work pretty well. That's perfect, that's perfect, that's perfect, perfect. And from there, it's a straight shot. Let's go ahead and 5 hours, 3 minutes, and 6 seconds. Writing file. File is writing. We are writing the file. Writing your file. So now we have the file on our USB drive, and we're only going to resin print this for now, because if we were to do this on the FDM printer with the plastic, I think the layers would kind of be too thin. The orientation would be challenging. We could try that in the future, but for now we're going to resin print it. So let's go. Okay, y'all, we're back and we have the final product sitting right here. But before I show you this, I do want to show you something that I made about maybe like 1 or 2 weeks ago. And this is pretty much the same kind of project, but it's in the form of a beard brush. This little thing seems to work pretty well to my surprise. I kind of just, throw it in my pocket, throw it in my backpack or something like that. I know y'all are ready to see the hair pick. Boom. Here we have the hair pick that we just designed. Now I'm gonna be honest, it's cool. It's not the sleekest design I've seen. It's not the coolest design yet that I've seen, but it seems to do the job that we designed it for pretty well. Okay, now, huge disclaimer. I can already tell that the teeth are way too flimsy for me to actually use this. So kind of like I said earlier, this is not gonna be a functional model, right? I'm not actually gonna wet my hair and use this to pick it through. It's pretty bare bones, it's pretty simple. We've accomplished our goal. It is a hair pick. I know I'm kind of dogging this design, even though I designed it. Most hair picks at least the ones that I've seen, they have a longer handle, as we pointed out earlier in the video. The way that I personally grab a hair pick, it's not like this, it's not like this, it's like this. And I use it, I'm grabbing it like this pretty much with 2 fingers and the rest are support. I do like that it has a shorter, stubbier kind of handle, so you can get a really firm grip like this and you can maneuver a bit better that way. Pros and cons to it for sure, but I'm glad it is done, y'all. This is pretty cool. And the fact that it's 2023 and you can design and 3D print your own hair pick, pretty impressive, I think. We're just gonna pop this in right here. So with that said, everybody, this is a successful video. We made a hair pick. If you wanna see a part 2, your homework or assignment for this video is to leave a comment below saying, hey Jay, I wanna see hair pick part 2. Feel free to chat with me in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any questions that y'all have. And last but not least, be sure to subscribe to Internal Tech down below and turn on post notifications. I'll be doing some shorts, I'll be doing some full-length videos, and I can't wait for the next couple of videos that I have lined up for y'all. They're even more random and exciting. And again, happy Black History Month. I'll see y'all later.